Hey everybody, Glenn from Thrive After 50. Welcome, coming to my live talk tonight. Tonight's episode is on finding your dream. What happened to your dream, and rekindling it. I live in a retirement community in Tennessee right now, and I come across many people who just have this look of vacancy and no direction in their life. And it saddens me. It really saddens me. And I know that's presumptuous for me to say that. I'm sure there's lots of things going on in their life that I'm not aware of. But, I want to ask you, I think we're all entering an age right now in our 50s, 60s, 70s, whatever it might be, where we're kind of uncertain about where we're heading, what we're going to do, what lies ahead. And I think a lot of it involves us. We don't have a dream. We don't have anything that we're working towards growing into. I think back in the days here, and I'm sure you can relate too, when you were a youngster and you used to dream and have an imagination and be really, really creative here. And thinking that, no, someday I want to grow up to be a dancer. I want to be a doctor, a fireman. I want to battle the injustices of the world. I want to cure disease. I mean, we had big ideas as to what it is that we wanted to do here. And what happens is that life kind of takes over here. Dreams don't pay the bills as we find out here. And that we find that we compromise ourselves. We compromise our dreams, all the dreams that we had, and we kind of go a path here. We start a family, a career, and all those dreams that we might have had as a child kind of fall off to the side here. And what is so cool about reaching the age that we're at right now, where you're almost or in retirement, is that we have an opportunity here. We have an opportunity to rekindle our dreams. And I grant you, our dreams today are going to be different than what they were back then. But we're still dreamers. We still are creative individuals. We still have an imagination. And that's what I want to talk about tonight there. So, we kind of lose it all in the hustle and bustle of life here, raising a family, commitments, so on and so forth. But somewhere still deep inside of you, you have a dream. And I'm hoping that I might be able to inspire you to take some steps here. I'll give you 5 later steps that I think will help you rekindle that dream, get back in touch with it, and start reliving there. And a lot of it comes down to asking, like, who am I? Who do I want to be? What are my values? What kind of a person of integrity do I want to be? What do I want to do with the last part of my life? And as some of you know, my take on retirement is a whole lot different than other people's. I don't think we should retire till we're 90 myself and just push hard, challenge yourself, go, 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 and then, reach that age where it's a sudden drop off, as opposed to gradually dying along the way here, if you know what I mean here. So, but that involves challenging ourselves here. Dreamers take leaps of faith. They're joyful. They laugh. They don't let day-to-day struggles and problems bring them down, at least not for long anyway. So I ask you, are you a dreamer? Are you a dreamer yourself, or have you kind of succumbed a bit to the age where we're at, where, I know I think back to my parents, my grandparents, I'm 66 years old. They seemed ancient at that time. And I think they did ancient things, knitting, sitting back, watching TV. It's just like, they had no life, particularly my grandparents there, from my perspective, again, as a child. My parents certainly did better, but again, I remember my dad kind of being lost here to some extent. He was so focused on creating abundance, I think he lost that inner joy of what life is, even though he still did get out and do quite a few things, but I do think that's what happens to us, a lot of us, is that we are so geared, society says, create, achieve, accumulate, make money, provide for your family. And a lot of that's really, really good. But again, I think we lose our inner joy along the way. I know that certainly happened for me. And, I took some pretty big actions to change that over. But, your dream is not time, age, or income dependent right now. You can, there's really no reason. You have the time. You're at an age where you don't have a regular job that you have to do. But that's no reason just to sit back and not challenge yourself, not to grow, okay? Because, the old saying, if you're not growing, you're dying. There's truth to that. There's truth to that. And I think it's important that in order for us to dream, to use our imaginations, our creativity, we have to challenge ourselves. We have to feel good about ourselves. We have to challenge ourselves physically, mentally, emotionally, just to grow, and that involves having a goal, having something that, is bigger than you, is what I like to say. Something that you can pretty much apply yourself for the rest of your life to doing. And I am not saying don't do your bucket list of things that you've always wanted to do. Take some gap years off if you want. Once you do retire, go travel, go do all the things you want to do, play with the grandkids, golf to your heart's content. But, as I've said before, to do something like that for another 30 years is just, it doesn't make sense. I don't know how anybody could do that. And if you're still into accumulating wealth, what's the cost of doing that? What's the cost of doing that to your soul, to your relationship, to your children, to, the time away from home that it might entail? There's sacrifices that we are making. And I don't know, a lot of us have our self-worth, I believe, tied up into how big our nest egg is, or if we have a nest egg. And what I have found is that when you do have the money to finally get out and do things, it's over so darn quick. The trip or vacation that you're on, it's was it worth it? Was it worth it? As opposed to living your day to day, hour by hour, walking towards something, creating something that's bigger than you. And I think that's just so important. I came across an interesting fact the other day, is that the National Health Foundation says we have 70,000 thoughts a day, and only 5% of those are new thoughts. Think about that. 70,000 thoughts a day, yet only 5% of those are new thoughts. Think of the repetition we are telling ourselves. Think about, when we're feeling bad about ourselves, when we beat ourselves up, Think of anyone telling you thought after thought after thought, day after day after day, what a jerk you are, or what a bad person you are, or what a poor lover you are, or whatever it is might be. But just think how that would play on you. And I don't know about you, but I'm probably my own worst critic. And I think that's basically what this is saying. We have to be so careful as to what we tell ourselves. And we're doing this unconsciously, to a large extent. We don't pay enough attention to outside of us, to what's in front of our face here. It seems, I know for myself, and I've gotten better at this, but it's still a challenge. I'm always in my head. I'm thinking, about what lies in the future, what happened in the past, what I want to be doing tomorrow, what I've got to do today, and to be present in the moment is probably one of our biggest challenges that we all have, to be present in the moment. That's where joy is found here. That's where joy is found. Alrighty, well, there's, I think, some common challenges and problems that we come across that keep us away from our dreams, from rekindling our dreams. Not being present is certainly one of them. But a lot of us, I think, are afraid to dream. And what I mean by that is that I think most people know more of what they don't want than what they do want. You know, I don't know if that's true for you. I know it was for me. I never really knew what I wanted in life. And it wasn't until I put myself out there and had the courage to do that, to take that step into the unknown, that I started stumbling onto it, knowing what I wanted to do with my life, where I wanted to go, creating something bigger than myself, which is this Thrive After 50. But a lot of us don't know what we want. And unfortunately, we beat ourselves up over that really, really bad. And again, I just think back to myself here and what I did. I would fight for my limitations. I would be afraid. I mean, even doing these lives here is very challenging for me. Just to step over that line, to start putting myself out there on social media, to risk exposing myself. And that's what it's going to be for anything you guys do too. What we do have going for us is that we have a lot of our talents and skills that we've learned over time here, and you have ones that are definitely unique to you, but I'll get to that later. And the second one, I think one of the big challenge is that, what does retirement mean to you? Society has really defined all the stages of life here, I think, quite well. But when it comes to retirement, it's suddenly, okay, I don't have a job. No one is going to tell me what to do. I can do anything I want. And again, then that falls back to, well, what the heck is it that I really want to do? I don't like the word retirement, okay? I think we're entering another phase where we need to rewire it. It's a time of legacy. It's a time of giving back. It's a time of extending a hand out to those behind us and bringing them forward, sharing our wisdom. I think it's such a shame that there has been such a history of people getting older, kind of being put out to pasture, not being respected, and then taking all this talent, this wisdom, these resources, this knowledge with them to their grave. And it's just like the light of their soul gets extinguished, and again, that's what I'm seeing around here with so many people. And once I sit down and talk to them and find out about their lives, they've had such interesting lives, and have such talents and wisdom. And wow, it's just a shame. So but again, the idea that retirement is a time where you stop growing, you just don't tell me what to do. I can do whatever I want. I'll go knock off my bucket list. That might take a few years, add something here and there. But you've got a whole lot of time besides that. What is it that you want to do with yourself? Forget the retirement thing. Forget the retirement. Start working on your health, your well-being, your mental, your thoughts, the 70,000 thoughts. Try to bring it up to 10% being new as opposed to just 5%. But just think outside of the box, again, challenge ourselves. Another thing that I think is one of the problems of us rekindling our dream is that we are living in a world of distractions, okay? We are being entertained. We're being placated, we're being pacified, is what I make up about it there to a large extent. It's easier to come home and to click on the TV and sit on the sofa and watch your favorite series than it is to go and read a book or to research or to journal or to get out and socialize with people, like-minded people, so on and so forth. We have the cell phones that, you're getting people permanently walking around like this now. That's crazy, just absolutely crazy. And who knows where all that's going to lead, especially with the youth of today. We're distracted by sports. Yeah, I'm sorry, guys, man. sports is a distraction. It's entertainment. And I guess so are concerts and things like that. And they're fun things. I'm not saying don't engage in them, but I think you got to find that balance between, being entertained, distracted, and growing. Okay. Like I said, I don't know anybody who's really growing. They might learn a little bit from, depending on what they're watching on TV here or so, but I don't know of really anyone that is, confidently and confidently growing into something who they want to be by watching TV. Now, maybe they're creating TV programs or something and growing. So distractions, we have to, I think it's really important for us to withdraw from the distractions. And with so much going on in the news today and stuff, that's really a very difficult thing. I know I stopped reading newspapers a long time ago, and probably everybody has now since it's all on social media. But I think that's something that we need to control, because the amount of news that gets to us isn't very positive, as everybody knows. And in fact, it can be really make us distraught and down, and kind of build up a sense of hopelessness, I think, is in us as well. I know it does for me anyway. So I purposely have to limit myself as to how much time I'm going to spend on that. Okay, it's out of my control, a lot of it. And it doesn't mean that I don't care, because I do. But I think it's more important that we be the answer, you and I, by changing ourselves, becoming more, and maybe we will create or formulate that dream where we are going to set out to try to solve that injustice, or find that cure, or help those people that are really needing it. I mean, that could be your dream, getting out there and living life. Thank you, Angela, for your comment. It's really, really important, I think, that we do get out there and do that. And last one here, which is just a huge one for me, is thinking you're too old to do this. Okay. And I guess that kind of ties into retirement, because, you think of retirement, you think of old people, don't you? Okay. And like I said, talking about my grandmother, yeah, she was old. They were old, they acted old. Okay. That's not the case today. We know that exercising and movement and getting out and keeping yourself active is really important to staying young, to moving. And again, being a personal trainer and working with people there, it's amazing the difference I see in people, ones who have never exercised coming in that are very distraught, hunched over. Some come in with canes, they've got knee replacement, hip replacements. Their alignment is totally wacko because of their problems and not having enough movement. Compared to a person who is in there 5-6 days a week up on the treadmills and the ellipticals, working with weights, doing group exercise things. They're working on their mobility. It's just absolutely amazing here. So I'm not going to buy that you're too old. Okay, you can do something about it, and I encourage you to do something about it. And that's usually one of the first places I encourage everybody to, is start with movement. Start moving more. Because I'll tell you, not a damn thing makes a bit of difference here if you don't have your health. It all goes out the window. It all goes out the window. So I think that's probably the last one there, or the biggest one, is that we feel we're too old, it's too late, there's nothing we can contribute, we're not good enough, we're not, those 70,000 thoughts coming one after another, telling you that you're a piece of crap and, too old and can't do this anymore. So, and I think what we need to do to challenge all these things is we need to really shift our thinking. Okay. We need to really shift our thinking and view things in a different manner. Find positive, inspirational literature to read. Listen to music that lights up your soul. Find a good book that just challenges you. Get on the internet and find growth-filled things that complement where you want to go, so on and so forth there. It's, I think, imperative that we do that and challenge ourselves in all areas here. Well, I've got a list of 5 ways that we can rekindle our dreams here. And a lot of this is from experience, things I've gone through, because again, at one time in my life, I was just like everybody else. I committed my life to my family, to their growth, to their education, to being a good husband, to running my business, or pleasing my boss, if that be the case. And I kind of sacrificed my soul, my joy to do this. And once my kids were raised and educated out in the house and out on their own, that is when I decided that I needed to change my life, because the last thing I wanted to do was go to my grave being regretful that I could have lived a larger life. I could have given more. I could have done more. I could have been more. And so it's really, really important here that we change things. And well, anyway, the number one thing that I think to rekindle our dreams is to start stepping into the shoes of who it is that you want to be. Use your imagination, your creativity. What is it that excites you? What are you curious about? What makes you wonder? What puts a smile on your face? What is in fact, what really pisses you off? What makes you angry that you would love to change in some way? And start stepping into those shoes and taking small steps towards that. So that's the number one thing. It's your dream isn't something out there in the future, okay? Your dream is achieved day by day, okay? Daily, you need to start living your dream. It's not a goal. It's not a place out there, okay? It is something that within a decision that you make, it's a path that you start creating. It's a path that you start walking. So it's important that we start stepping into our dreams there. Okay, another one that I think is really, really important to rekindling your dream is to be patient with yourself. Dreams don't happen overnight, okay? And again, I spoke earlier of it being a lifelong endeavor, okay? And just, if you think about that, think of all the people you'll meet along the way here that are like-minded, that you might end up working with. And that's all going to be part of it, of making it reality. But you're going to start crossing paths with other people once you get out there and start doing things. But you got to be patient with yourself, okay? Don't beat yourself up for those 70,000 thoughts thinking you're a jerk, but rather decide what it is that you need to get better at. What skills do you still need to work on to get you closer to your dream? Write those down. It might involve going back to school. It might involve learning how to do Photoshop. It might involve you learning, something historical. I mean, I don't know what it might be, but be patient with yourself and your progression, okay? The challenge is to take a small step every day, okay? Every day if you can. And I don't care. It might be you just simply reading an inspirational line out of a book that's next to your bedside, okay? Other days it might be something that you accomplish much greater. Maybe you're writing a book or something like that and you get through a chapter or something like that. But be patient with the process there and supplement it with whatever the skills are that you need to learn. And the third one here, and I touched upon it a bit, is find your mentors. Cross paths with other people. Reach out to those people who are kind of living the dream that you want. And I say living the dream you want, and that sounds like, hey, maybe it's really simple. It's not simple to even decide what your dream is. That takes a lot of internal work. okay? And I encourage you to go and do that. Whatever, go to your thinking place, wherever that is. You know, it might be in your office with a closed door. It might be in your bedroom with a closed door. It might be outside. It might be while running. It might be while taking a shower. I mean, whatever it is there. But really start thinking deep as to what that might be. And I'll tell you, if you can ask really good questions, you're going to get really good answers. The answers aren't going to come right away. But if you can formulate a really, really good question, the answer will come here. So be patient with your progress along this, and find others out there that can be mentors that you can get in touch with, that you can reach out to, that can show you some shortcuts as to how to get there quicker, you know. And you might be able to model them to some extent, yet bring your own individuality into it. That will rekindle your dreams. That will help get you going here. And, you know, the fourth one I've got is honor the struggle, you know. Embrace the suck, because there is going to be days where it's absolutely going to be a challenge to move forward, to embrace what just seems like it sucks so much. But that's just an important part of it. And the challenge there is to not let those 70,000 minus 5% thoughts start hindering you, okay? You got to think that even when bad things happen, ask yourself, what can be great about this, okay? What can still be good about this that you may not be recognizing right now? There may not be an answer. There may be a good one here. But again, use your imagination. Maybe this is happening for a reason. Maybe by honoring the struggle, it's going to make you bigger. It's going to make you better. It's going to make it so that you rise to a higher level there. And that's to be expected. That's going to be to be expected with dreams. I don't know anyone who's ever lived life without struggle. But it's how you treat the struggle there. The worst thing you can do is give up. Don't give up on your dream, whatever it is there. Like I said, you've got the rest of your life to pursue it, so do that. Do all these other things you want to do along with it, but have this be your one main thing. Okay, and the last one, this might sound a little woo-woo here a little bit to some of you, but you know, I remember as a child, I must have been 12 years old, laying in my bedroom, and I once imagined, you know, I imagined, pretty imaginative kid, as to what life might be for me when I was 50 years old. Okay, I actually did this. And I was probably a weird kid, of course, or so. But you know, I was wondering, you know, would I be married? Would I have children? What might the world look like? You know, would I be happy? So on and so forth. And it was interesting, when I turned 50, I thought back to that child again. You know, I thought that child lying in the bed thinking this thought. And I'll tell you, I felt like there was a connection there. I don't know if any of you have ever had that a similar instance at all. But the point I'm making is, wanting to make, is that I want you to think ahead to that you 10, 15 years down the road, 20 years, whatever it is. You know, what might that person be saying to you? What wisdom might they be imparting back to you? And what encouragement might they say? What would that wiser self want to say to you? And I know that sounds a little woo-woo, but I believe that connection exists there. I do. And if you let yourself go there, I think that can be really, really invaluable to your growth there, and to getting back in touch with into your dream here. So, well, anyway, that's the 5 things that I have that I think will help you get back on the track of rekindling your dream. I want you to know that you're worth it. Okay, your dream is worth it. I care about you. I care about people overall. I want them to excel. I want them to grow. I don't want to see that vacant look in the eyes here. I want you to be having something that you're working towards, something that gets you out of bed in the morning, something that excites you, whether it be friendships. And I'll tell you, one of the most satisfying things that I have discovered is the act of helping others get ahead, helping others in whatever way you can. Volunteering. I know so many people that are volunteering right now, and it just makes them happy. It puts a big, huge smile on their face. I know people go down to Haiti that volunteer, over to Africa, to their church, to the food co-ops, different things like that. So giving back is really where it's at. The growth and giving back. I think those two things is really where it's at. So hold on to your dreams here. Create your dreams. Start stepping towards it every day. Become more. Become proud of who you are. Start telling yourself what's great about you and great about your life. Recognize those little small moments in life. Stay present. Love yourself. I know that's a tough one. But really, really look yourself in the eye in the mirror there and love yourself. I think that's a really great one there. Well, for the takeaway I'd like to give you, a quote by C.S. Lewis: "You are never too old to set another goal or to dream a new dream." I like that saying, and I am totally all about that. You are never too old to set another goal or to dream a new dream. I want you guys to remember that, okay? Take that message with you. All right, well, that's it for tonight's episode here. Again, my plan is to do these 9 o'clock every Monday night here. Thank you for joining me. I would like to ask you that if you think this video here would benefit or help anyone that you know, to share it with them, to have them sign up, and let's get people on board, man. We've got a lot of work to do. We've got a lot of dreams to dream, and we need to rebuild ourselves here. We want to become more. Let's start doing it. Let's start setting out. And one of the coolest things about this is that you're setting an example. You're setting an example for your kids, for your grandkids. Instead of them viewing us as some old rickety, burnt out, hunched over old man, or old lady, we are setting an example for what life at our age can and should be like. So let's go for it. Glenn, Thrive After 50, signing out.